Hi everyone! So in today's video we are going to be making restaurant style butter chicken. This is a really popular dish and I know a lot of people are afraid to attempt this at home because they're afraid it's not going to taste like the restaurant style, but let me tell you, it is pretty simple once you know how to do it, and if you follow this recipe you will get exactly the same result as when you go to an Indian restaurant. So let's begin. Okay, so for this recipe we are going to need about 500 grams of boneless chicken, 75 grams of cashew nuts, red chili powder, coriander powder, and salt, about 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar, about 1 teaspoon of fenugreek leaves and 1 teaspoon of garam masala, 1.5 tablespoons of vinegar, 6 to 7 tablespoons of butter, and 4 to 5 tablespoons of heavy cream. And then here I have 3 roughly chopped tomatoes, 3 roughly chopped onions, and then 1.5 tablespoons of garlic paste and 1 tablespoon of ginger paste, freshly made. Alright, so I'm going to be using one of these chicken breast pieces. You can see they're really meaty and nice, and one piece should give us about 500 grams. And we're going to cut them into thin slices like this because it will hold the flavor so much better, and traditionally this is how butter chicken is made. But of course, if you have a preference of cubes of chicken or chunks of chicken, you can certainly cut them that way as well. Alright, so now that our chicken is ready, we can go ahead and start the marination process. And so for the first step, we're going to add in half a tablespoon of ginger paste and half a tablespoon of garlic paste. Once we've done that, we can move on to our spices. So I'm going to add in some salt, some coriander powder or Dhania powder, and some red chili powder. You can add all of this as per your taste. I like my food spicy, so I'm going to add more. If you don't, you can certainly add less. And then at this point, I would highly recommend adding in about 2 tablespoons of plain yogurt. However, I did not have any on hand, so I did not do that today. And if you don't have it either, you can certainly do this marination without the plain yogurt. But adding in that plain yogurt or dahi really just makes the chicken so much softer, juicier, and more tender. So I highly recommend that. But unfortunately, I did not have that, so I just moved on to mixing it really thoroughly so that we can evenly coat all the chicken. And once we've mixed that, we can leave it to marinate for a minimum of 30 minutes. The longer you do it, the better, but a minimum of 30 minutes. Alright, so our chicken has been marinating for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to heat up some olive oil in this pan on high heat, and then we can put in all of our chicken. And we're just going to continue to fry this probably for at least 15 minutes, but definitely use your own judgment. Once the chicken is fully cooked, that's when you'll be done. So just continue to flip it over and fry it. And I also did want to note that traditionally, authentic butter chicken is made with strips of tandoori chicken. And we will have a video coming out on tandoori chicken very soon, so please stay tuned for that. But if you really want authentic butter chicken, make tandoori chicken legs and use the strips, and that's what you will put in the gravy later on. However, if you want a simpler recipe, go with the frying method. Alright, so now that our chicken is done and we've kept that on the side, we're going to heat up some oil in the same pan on high heat. And that's one of the great things about this recipe is that it is a one-pot recipe, which makes for easy cleanup later on. And for those of you who hate doing the dishes like I do, that is definitely an attractive feature for this recipe. So we're going to add in all of our onions and fry them for 3 to 4 minutes. And while we're frying the onions, we're going to go in and add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter. So while we're frying the onions, we're going to melt down that butter before moving on to the next step. Alright, so now that we've fried our onions for about 3 to 4 minutes, we can go in and add all of our tomatoes. And we're also going to add in the cashew nuts, all of them, and about 1 tablespoon of garlic paste and half a tablespoon of ginger paste. And we're going to continue to fry that for another 3 to 4 minutes and mix all of it together. Alright, and at this point we can go in and add our spices. So we'll add in salt and red chili powder, which you can add as per your taste. And then we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of Garam Masala. Make sure you mix this in and evenly blend all of the spices. Alright, so once we've mixed the spices, we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of white vinegar. And then we're also going to add in our sugar. Now, I don't like my butter chicken too sweet, so I'm only going to add 1 tablespoon. But if you do like it sweeter, you can add 2 tablespoons of sugar. And at this point, we'll mix this really well and make sure that all of the masalas and spices are blended evenly. And then we can fry it for about 10 minutes. Alright, and at this point it's been 10 minutes or so of frying, so we can go in and add our water. Between 2 to 4 cups should be good. You can definitely use your own judgment as well, because we do want to make sure that this is a gravy and not a thick paste. And then we're going to let this simmer between 15 to 20 minutes. You really want to get this masala very mushy before we put it into the grinder. And once 15 to 20 minutes has passed by and you think you're ready, you can put all of the masala into the grinder, and we're going to grind this into a fine paste, and it should be like a really nice gravy. Alright, so now that we've ground that into a really nice gravy, we're going to strain the gravy directly into that same pot that we were using before. We want to make sure that we catch any of that tomato skin or tomato seeds that might still be there. Because butter chicken has a really smooth gravy, we just want to ensure that we keep it as smooth as possible. Once we've done that, we can heat up the pan on high heat and add in about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter and melt that down. And at that point, you can add in the heavy cream. I'm going to put in about 4 to 5 tablespoons, but if you like your butter chicken creamier, you can add more. If you don't like it too creamy, you can add less. And we're going to mix that really well, and once we've done that, we're going to add in a little less than a teaspoon of Kasuri Methi. You want to save a little bit for garnishing at the end, and of course, if it's something you don't really like too much, you can add less, or if you do really like it, you can add more. You can always use your own judgment with these things. And then we're going to make sure that we mix this very thoroughly. Alright, so now that we've mixed that all thoroughly, we can go ahead and add in our chicken. So add in all of the chicken and mix that in nicely with the gravy. Make sure you coat all of it. And we want to cook this for about 5 to 10 minutes more. And at that point, our butter chicken will be ready and we can plate it. And I suggest garnishing with some a little bit of cream and some Kasuri Methi on top just to make it look really nice. And your butter chicken is complete. And with that, our butter chicken is complete. It smells amazing and tastes even better. You can enjoy this with rice or tandoori roti, tandoori naan, whatever you prefer. And I hope you all really enjoyed this video. Please share it with your friends, like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. Thanks for watching!